Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and it's time for an in-depth look at the new Charlie Puth LP, Voicenotes. This time round, the power pop ballad singer is back with more of an R&B tinged album. This follows up his debut release from 2016 called 9-Track Mind, where we saw Charlie collaborate with the likes of Selena Gomez and Meghan Trainor. Notably, this debut album came into fruition because of Charlie's previous success with the song See You Again, which was featured on the Fast and Furious 7 soundtrack a few years back. Puth worked with Wiz Khalifa on that track as a tribute towards the late Paul Walker, and it showcased Charlie Puth's very dynamic vocal range and what we now know as his signature howl. Overall, the song was very inescapable in 2015. Originally capitalizing on his success from YouTube, this pop sensation has broken out to be a well-known name in mainstream music, and his voice is something that is either loved or hated, I feel, as it's something that takes some time to get used to, especially when his regular speaking voice is completely different. But here on Voicenotes, Charlie is back with a new sonic direction, where we see him break out from the industry's chokehold on his songwriting abilities. Most interestingly, Puth is actually producing all of these songs on the project with minimal assistance. Not being the biggest fan of Puth, I was a little hesitant, thinking that Puth might fall back into his direction with 9-Track Mind, but as soon as I heard that he was delaying this release of Voicenotes, I was impressed and excited with the maturity for this pop songwriter, wanting to refine his project before its release. A little over a year ago, Charlie dropped the song Attention, which has become a massive hit, peaking at number 5 and spending a total of 40 weeks on the Billboard charts. In addition to this, the song has gone platinum 3 times in the US, and as a pop song, I love the crossover sound with soul and 80s funk with the very infectious bass line. So after Attention, Charlie was dropping single after single. The next one was How Long, followed up by Done For Me, and then Change featuring James Taylor. After releasing one of these singles, Charlie even redid the album artwork, as his original cover was supposed to be a black and white photograph of him sitting on what appeared to be a hotel bed with a piano. But as you can see beside me here, Charlie decided to go with more of a dramatic pose focused on just his face. The first song on this record, The Way I Am, features exceptional stop and start guitars, which have a playful characteristic to them while underpinning the vocals in a clean and punchy manner. Unfortunately, the lyrical content of the song is a little corny, as Puth is saying that lovers and haters are just going to have to deal with him, very much in the same vein as the Taylor Swift song Shake It Off from a few years ago, but at least this time with The Way I Am, it is a little less obnoxious. Regardless of the conventional lyrics with The Way I Am, I can definitely understand the desire for Puth wanting to find a place to hide from the limelight, as he is experimenting with his own production style and a new sound altogether. Moreover, the opening track from Voicenotes is a very anthemic and catchy song that just screams replay factor every time I listen to it. The next song, Attention, came out over a year ago, as I previously mentioned, but it is always a refreshing listen each and every time I hear it, and I think it should have decent staying power, at least in terms of a club hit. Attention displays a very groovy, walk-along bass line with a stellar vocal performance and an interesting narrative to go along with it. After Attention, we get the song LA Girls, which has a gripping juxtaposition between the two vocal registers in the chorus. In addition to this, instrumentally, the synth lines make timely entrances and exits to support the vocals in a strong and slick way. On this track, Charlie also features a very versatile vocal range where he has these wave-like oohs in the bridge that are just absolutely angelic. How Long is another great single off of Voicenotes, which shows off a very polished, groovy electric guitar and bouncy bass with an infectious hook calling back to some R&B and funk genres of the 1980s. I absolutely adore the percussive vocals in the verses, and as a drummer I truly appreciate the hints of cowbell in the chorus, but for some reason, I just could use a little more cowbell and more exploration of the studio space. Kidding aside, I do have an attachment for the song How Long, and it is always going to be an enjoyable and entertaining listen no matter how many times I play it, I feel. Overall, this song is pulled off very well, as Puth has even referenced it to the part 2 of Attention. I also have to praise the way in which Charlie teased this single release from 2017, as he tweeted a series of words from the chorus of the song, leading up to an actual voice note recording of him creating it. The next song, Done For Me, was a little underwhelming at first, or at least when I originally heard it, but it has since warped into one of my favorite pop songs of the year. The Kalani vocal performance was just a little hit or miss for me, as Puth outshined in his delivery of his part of the song, and it kind of just left Kalani in the dust, and it set the bar really high for her in order to match the same energy that Charlie has on this song. However, if I focus more on the narrative of the song, I find myself gravitating towards the argument between the lovers, trying to tell the other what he or she has done, expecting a return as a way to satisfy their desires in the relationship. On top of the irresistible story in the lyrics, we get a very funky bass and synth line that just has 80s club hit written all over it. So after the first 5 songs on this record, I'm extremely impressed with what Charlie is doing to demonstrate his new direction in music. I feel like each of these 5 songs does an excellent job of distinguishing a distinct sound while showing off Puth's dazzling work in the studio. Unfortunately, after this nice solid part of the record is done, the next song, Patient, is a little bit of a speed bump in terms of quality. The chorus feels a little underwhelming and underwritten, and it just screws up the pacing for the project as a whole. Fortunately, to make up for the lackluster chorus of the song, Patient does exhibit a relaxing and indulging percussive arrangement. The last thing I want to point out about the song Patient is the very appealing and singable bridge section. After Patient, we get the song If You Leave Me Now, and no, do not mistake this with the Chicago song. If You Leave Me Now by Charlie Puth is an a cappella arrangement featuring Boys to Men, and it gives everyone a decent chance to shine in their own vocal section as it exquisitely expresses gorgeous vocal harmonies all the way from bass to tenor. After this, we get a deeper cut on the album entitled Boy, which features a very tropical house-inspired intro, which honestly just made me feel like I was listening to a Drake song. Those worries quickly dissipated as we get the signature Charlie Puth falsettos, which glamorously soar over top of the synthesizer mixing in the chorus. We even get a soulful keyboard solo towards the end of this track, which is something that you don't hear very often in pop records of recent memory. In addition to the infectious melody, we get a nice narrative where Charlie is talking about 2 lovers, him being the younger of the 2, being born in the 1990s, telling the woman that she should treat Puth with caution and be more serious in terms of their relationship. Slow It Down is an interesting track because of its implausible and unbelievable lyrics where Puth is wanting to leave this girl, but as soon as he tells her that, she's undressing herself. So yeah, despite the tongue-in-cheek lyrics there, the song does feature a pleasant call and response texture in the chorus where we have this almost robotic vocal effect to give the song a bit of a Daft Punk influence. For sure, the standout feature of this song, hands down, has got to be the robotic vocal effect, as Charlie even sprinkles it into the bridge section as well. Coming up next, we get the song Change, featuring James Taylor, a very big influence for Charlie Puth's music. Sonically, this song sounds soothing and aesthetically appealing for its acoustic guitar, shimmers of electric guitar, and twinkling of keys throughout, supporting the spectacular vocal chemistry between the duo. The lyrical content for this song definitely disappoints me, as it sees Puth wanting to connect with an international audience trying to change the world, and I've just heard that way too much in a song, and Puth doesn't really do a good job to make the songwriting come out as something special. Comparing that to a song like John Lennon's Imagine, I just don't really see another song on the horizon like that. So yeah, in addition to that, honestly, Change just feels like it's a little out of place on this record, especially if you're interpreting this album to be a focus of 2 lovers and Charlie trying to understand the other person in his relationships. The next song, Somebody Told Me, no, not the Killers song, switches Puth's perspective from the song How Long to be the guy who is now being cheated on. And at this point of the record, I'm just annoyed by the lyrical content of this album, as Charlie is reaching desperately for experiences to talk about. As believable as the lyrics are, I feel like the song is forgettable in terms of its repetitive chorus and high-strained vocals that just sound like there's been too much tinkering in the studio to make them sound good. Following up this song, the album hits another dip in quality with Empty Cups, which is a groovy party song with more tongue-in-cheek lyrics that don't leave anything up for interpretation. I feel like Puth could have done a little bit better of a job to leave a mystery up to the listener, but instead he just goes for a track about getting it on with a girl with heavy influence from alcohol. So yeah, that's not really sitting with me very well. The last song on this record sees Charlie mix things up quite a bit with a slow piano power ballad in 6/8 time, but much like Slow It Down, I feel like the lyrics here are beyond belief again, as it's hard to imagine a 26-year-old going through every possible experience with women. But yes, I do understand the attempt to wrap everything up in a less than well-learned moment of realization, but I'm very glad to see that this is one of the only slow burners on the track listing. Actually, Puth reported through it all as the original sonic direction of Voicenotes, but as soon as he wrote Attention, he decided to stay away from the power pop ballads that the studio was wanting him to go with for the entire album release. Overall, Voicenotes sees Charlie Puth transition away from power pop to a darker R&B and 1980s synth pop influence. Sonically, this project is not reinventing a whole new genre, but it is a solid pop record with original flair and voice that will make it instantly recognizable for old and new fans alike. Moreover, Voicenotes is a highlight of the year for me so far, or at least as far as pop records go. I'm feeling an 8 out of 10 on this project, and whether or not Voicenotes is deemed a pop classic down the road like Michael Jackson's Thriller, I feel like Voicenotes is an alluring listen for 7 or 8 really good songs, which is an incredible turnaround for Charlie Puth, especially with his bland and lackluster debut album. So yeah, sound off down below in the comments. Tell me what you're thinking about Charlie Puth's new album. Agree, disagree, I'm here to engage with you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. My name is Ryan from True North Reviews, and as always, have a rockin' day. Thanks for watching.
I still need more cowbell.